Hi, I'm Ash. I'm a social scientist and I make videos about sociological topics and sometimes I make vlogs. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the dark side of influencer culture. So let's get into the video. Before I get started, I do just want to say that this might be a bit of a long one compared to previous videos, such as last week's one about the TikTok ban exposed. Thank you for all the engagement and love on that video. I'm a small channel, so subscribe if you enjoy this sociology topic. This video is about the dark side of influencer culture, so there may be some overlap from last week's video. And as per usual, I have written a blog about this over on ashycakes.com, and I'll link that down below in the subscription so you can go and check it out, and it's got all the sources for the video linked there as well. First things first, we have to define what an influencer is, because to me it is different to a content creator and it is different to a celebrity, although all three of them may overlap sometime. So I have taken a definition, and this is a quote from Influencer Marketing Hub 2024, which is going to be used for the purpose of this video. Now, you don't have to agree with that, it's just what we're using for the purpose of this video. An influencer is someone who has the power to affect the purchasing decisions of others because of his or her authority, knowledge, position, or relationship with his or her audience. Influencers are usually active on social media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, and Instagram. Typically, each influencer is known for a specific niche, be it fashion, travel, gaming, beauty, cooking, fitness, or any other interest area. They create content around their niche, and people who follow them are interested in that particular topic. And I would personally say that influencers are the ones who use their platforms to usually talk about a product. And that is most of their content, is promoting products, trying products, all of that sort of thing. Whereas to me, a content creator may get sponsorships, they may use products and promote products, but they're not doing it solely just to sell that product. They have other agendas like providing entertainment or education. And yes, I said the lines can blur between the two sometimes, but I personally feel like there's more of a negative connotation towards influencer, and that's the reason why we see many people wanting to call themselves a content creator who create content online. With that being said, influencer culture is still on the rise, especially as more and more people can become influencers as a legitimate career path, especially in a post-pandemic world with increased anxieties and people wanting to work for themselves more, work from home, have more flexibility. Social media has transformed a simple means of staying connected into a multi-billion-dollar industry powered by influencers. With millions of followers, picture-perfect lifestyles, and brand deals pouring in, it's no surprise that being an influencer has become a highly coveted career. But beyond the glamorous facade and perfectly curated feeds and sponsored content lies a much darker reality that often goes unnoticed. And with all the crazy stuff happening with TikTok right now, things might just get darker. Okay, so we're going to talk about the following themes: the pressure to perform, authenticity versus curated personalities, materialism and consumerism, ethical concerns, and the impact on relationships. The pressure to perform. The constant demand to excel as an influencer often blurs the boundary between personal and professional life. Succeeding in this influencer sphere relies heavily on consistent content creation, following trends, and upholding a meticulously crafted image that aligns with the ever-evolving expectations of followers and brands. This relentless pressure often leaves influencers feeling stuck in a cycle of perfectionism, where any decline in engagement or departure from their online persona could lead to a decrease in followers, sponsorships, or credibility. The emotional strain of maintaining relevance and staying on brand can lead to burnout, anxiety, and disconnection from genuine authenticity, shedding light on the less favorable aspects of influencer culture. In an article by JV 2020, many influencers have struggled with criticisms from their audiences, especially when they are in dire need of a break or just wanting to take a break in general. However, when they do take a break, their follower count tends to go down, which kind of makes sense because they're not posting as much. One notable example influencer that this has happened to goes by the name of Summer McKeen. She took a break from posting due to backlash and criticism that she was receiving. And when she did take this break, she felt a lot more removed from that criticism and felt better overall. But during this time, she did lose a substantial amount of followers. Another example influencer who has struggled with the pressure to perform is Alicia Marie. Sometimes I watch. It's kind of more of like a guilty pleasure for me. Anyway, that's not the point. In 2018, she took a 2-month break from social media as she had been doing everything herself, including editing, and she felt like she needed to prove herself, not only to herself, but her audience as well. During this break, Alicia realized that she couldn't actually do it all herself. She hired 2 full-time assistants and a part-time editor, and she also joined a gym to help with work-life balance and to help deal with burnout. From my perspective, over this time watching her content change, it feels a lot more authentic in my opinion. And she has definitely developed as a person, and I think it just shows that asking for help is okay, especially when someone is struggling with the pressure to perform. Now, another influencer by the name of Michelle Phan, she was a popular beauty and makeup vlogger. She stopped making YouTube videos due to burnout. And in an article from the BBC, Phan said, and this is a quote, "It became harder and harder for me to pretend to be happy. And as a result, I had become toxic with my relationships and friendships. I had my threshold." She took a break between 2017 and 2019, and I believe she had either joined some sort of cult or new age community, because I remember seeing a YouTube video about it. It's in my blog, so check that out. But I'm not 100% sure how true that is. And I have since seen her regularly upload podcasts to her YouTube channel, so I think she might just be going down that route. It might be a bit easier for her, but that's another example of someone who has struggled with the pressure to perform. Okay, moving on now to authenticity versus curated personalities. Influencer culture has become a powerful force in shaping trends, opinions, and lifestyles. But beneath the glossy feeds and the polished personas lies a darker side. The pressure to project an idealized version of life can lead influencers to perform what some might call a perfect lie. These curated versions of themselves, flawless skin, perfect relationships, and endless success are carefully constructed to draw in followers and sponsorships. The gap between who influencers really are and how they present themselves grows wider, with many feeling they must constantly perform to maintain relevance. This ongoing need to portray a picture-perfect life pushes influencers to manipulate their image and in some cases engage in deceptive tactics to keep their audiences hooked. For example, rage bait, and I've done a video on that already. When authenticity is sacrificed for likes, shares, and brand deals, the consequences can be profound. Followers often feel betrayed when they discover that the influencers they trusted have been lying or manipulating their realities. Whether it's promoting products they don't believe in, using fake stories to elicit sympathy, or photoshopping images beyond recognition, the fallout can lead to deep trust issues. Examples of backlash are everywhere. Influencers caught in scams or promoting harmful products face public outrage and sometimes even lose lucrative partnerships. For instance, high-profile influencers have been exposed for lying about their lifestyle or health practices, sparking massive online criticism. As the veil of inauthenticity slips, it's clear that once trust is broken, rebuilding it can be nearly impossible. One specific example of this is when Kendall Jenner used Pepsi to project a global unity and peace idea. However, this failed miserably and was accused of trivializing both police brutality and Black Lives Matter. Then there are people like influencer Jessica Ainscough, whose brand was the Wellness Warrior. She unfortunately had cancer and did pass away in 2015 at the age of 29, which is really awful. However, she was promoting alternative cancer treatments, and I believe, I don't know the name, but apple cider vinegar of that Australian lady doing essentially the same thing, but she didn't actually have anything wrong with her. And obviously, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, but I would recommend reading about alternative treatments if you are interested in them. There isn't a lot of scientific evidence for them, is what I'm saying. And promoting things like this can have a drastic effect on other people. Moving on now to materialism and consumerism. So if you're not on any social media, you probably haven't been exposed to the crazy morning routines. For example, what's his name? I think it's Ashton Hall, who had that crazy morning routine. But he's not the only one. There are a lot of people out there doing insane morning routines. And I know they're not real. You know they're not real. But some people do take them at face value. And I get sometimes it's just fun to make content like that, but you do have to be really careful in how you do it. I recently watched a YouTube video on Film Cooper's channel. It'll be in the blog post down below as well. And he was talking about people's insane morning routines. And there was one person who, I don't know the influencer's name, but in their fridge, they had at least 20 bottles of water. Now, I am from Christchurch, and the water in Christchurch is chlorinated, so it is disgusting. So I get sometimes buying water, but I did still drink it a lot of the time. And I don't want to be judgmental, but I do find that buying that much water and having so much plastic in your house is really bad for the environment. Like, I would just get a filter for your tap. And yes, maybe you live in a place where the water isn't safe and you have to do that, but there are other ways where you could buy bigger containers of water. And yeah, you get my point, but I'm going off on a tangent now. Basically, I'm saying don't have 20 bottles of water if you have access to safe, clean drinking water in your house, or you can put a filter on if it's chlorinated. And I am very, very grateful to live in Melbourne where the water is delicious. So in influencer culture, there is the promotion of an unattainable lifestyle. According to Phillips 2023, social media has created a game of whose life looks more fun. It has become a way for us to constantly compare ourselves to other people. We, as social media users, are used to seeing carefully curated highlight reels of other people's lives, which can make you feel like your life is not measuring up to others. This can lead to feelings of distress, anxiety, not feeling good enough, and feeling like you're missing out, which is known as FOMO, F-O-M-O, the acronym. In some cases, especially for children, which I've talked about in previous videos, there may be a lack of critical thinking skills, which highlights how someone might not be able to wrap their head around that life is curated for our online viewing pleasure. Some people might go as far to try and copy influencers. in their lifestyles by buying their products, aka being influenced, and wasting money on products that they might not even need. Parasocial relationships can also lead to strange behaviors, as someone thinking that their favorite YouTuber is their friend, and in extreme cases, not always, they may end up stalking them. I don't have specific examples of stalking, but I remember Call Me Chris once said that she had to move because she had a stalker. It could also lead to people going up to influencers and thinking that they have the right to touch them. And obviously these behaviors can be problematic in many different ways. Then we have influencers like Shannon Blake, who to me personally is kind of a strange influencer. And yes, I'm being kind of judgmental here, but hear me out. Lots of people do seem to love her, but what I find strange is that she has claimed to cure a kidney infection with good vibes. Now, as someone who's struggled with chronic health issues, had kidney issues, UTIs, all of that stuff, TMI, sorry. But anyway, my point is, what? You can't cure a kidney infection with good vibes. You need medical treatment. Like, you just need it. Like, that's just fact. So if you have one, please don't kill it with good vibes. Please go to the hospital or a doctor or a medical professional. Shannon Blake aligns herself with the hippie counterculture movement as part of her brand, and there's nothing wrong with the hippie counterculture movement. However, she has also created merchandise that isn't sustainable. Now, that kind of contradicts, if you're going to go with the hippie counterculture, you probably should make sustainable merchandise. She creates a lot of problematic content, and there is a whole lot of information out there, heaps of YouTube videos if you want more on Shannon Blake specifically. In a post-pandemic world and a misogynist world where awful white men are in power, having influencers who purposefully spread misinformation, promote terrible health products, and create these curated online lifestyles can have drastic impacts on young audiences and societal values as a whole. For example, as I said before, and probably will keep saying, children don't always have critical thinking skills, and teenagers' brains aren't developed enough to think critically as well. They might not realize what is real, what is fake, and so on. And I feel like things on social media are only going to get worse, especially because Facebook said it was taking away its fact checkers earlier this year, with Mark Zuckerberg aligning himself with Trump. And I know people will say, well, why don't we develop the skills to be able to think critically? And yes, we should all do that. This should be taught in high school, or like this. It is taught at university, but not everyone goes to university. So I think it should be taught at high school. And we should always do our own research, double check something, fact check something before we go and tell other people about it or take it at face value. And I know not all of us have the resources or tools or abilities to be able to do so. And what I think is that this is going to lead to a fundamental change in societal values. It's not always easy to distinguish fact from fiction, and that's really scary to think about. We do also have to think about one's social context. So this is where someone is in the world, and where you are might impact how you see things, how you interpret something. Maybe this person hasn't read about something before and they read it and they're like, oh, that's cool, and take it at face value. I'm pretty sure I'm guilty of that. Don't come for me. Or maybe someone is super cynical of everything they read and they don't believe anything at all. Both can be very problematic. And there are there are a lot of factors we have to think about and take into account. There is also the cycle of spending, which is driven by influencers themselves, doing marketing and endorsements, sponsorships, and so on. This demonstrates how we can never ever get away from capitalism. I want to move on now to ethical concerns. This could probably be its own video on its own because you can go so far down a rabbit hole with things like ethical concerns, but we'll keep it brief. Firstly, the lack of transparency in sponsored content can be problematic. Now, I know there's lots of laws in every country where you have to say if something is gifted or an ad or sponsored. However, things can get a little blurry, especially when it comes to affiliate marketing. Now, there's nothing wrong with affiliate marketing in general. I have it on my blog and sometimes I put it in my YouTube, but it's very obvious. I put this as an affiliate link, disclaimer, all of that. But there are some influencers who are a bit, what's the word, dodgy when it comes to affiliate marketing. So an influencer might make a post about something entirely different, like it's a video, and they might be wearing specific earrings in that video. Someone in the comments might be like, oh, I like your earrings. And then suddenly those earrings become an affiliate link. And to me and you, it might be obvious that that's an affiliate link, but to others, it necessarily might not be. Like, if they say, here's an affiliate link, like that's obvious to these earrings, but it feels disingenuous that you're not putting it there already when you're wearing the earrings in the video. Do you get what I mean? I hope you get what I mean, because it makes sense to me. And then if they just comment the link without saying it's an affiliate link, that's also disingenuous, because it's like, oh, this is where I got them from. And then it's an affiliate link. Like, we deserve to know if it's an affiliate link and then make a decision on whether we want to buy that product. Influencers may also manipulate their followers through misleading claims. Now, I found this following image. I'll try and put it up here on Reddit, of all places, that helps show some tactics that influencers might do to manipulate or trick their followers. So it's called 7 Dirty Tricks Influencers Use to Get Viral. 1. Typo marketing, adding funny misspellings so you are likely to comment about them boosting their spread. I've seen this so many times. 2. Fake drama, creating controversies and fights between them. So Jake and Logan Paul fighting is the example there. 3. Share count manipulation. So the first person who shows up on your share list owes you a coffee. I get heaps of those on Instagram. 4. Paid actors, so for example using actors to impersonate policemen. 5. Weird inclusion, adding something weird in the background so you will comment on it. I don't have anything weird in the background, but I can't think of an example. Anyway, you get what I mean. The next one is deep fake AI, like clips of Mr. Beast giving iPhones away and now used for scams, and rage baiting, so stupid food or controversial political opinions. These techniques are often used to create more engagement from one's followers, and it definitely works because we've seen what rage baiting does. Like, rage baiting can get anyone, I think. There is a definite need for stricter guidelines and regulating whether content is paid. YouTube is really good at it, but I'm not so sure about other platforms like TikTok and Instagram. It is very easy for an influencer to add in a product to their video or post and just not say it's an ad or sponsored and still get paid for it. Now, I'm about to talk about body image, so this is just like a content warning, trigger warning. Feel free to skip this part if it's not for you. One other ethical concern is that of body image, and concerns of body image isn't anything new. Body and beauty standards have been around for a very long time, but I think it can often be worse on social media, especially if you're watching someone go through a specific process to change the way they look. Specifically, Marino et al. 2024 says, in the age of digital proliferation, platforms like Instagram and Facebook have reshaped body image concerns, often leading to increased dissatisfaction and psychological distress due to constant exposure to idealized images and a culture of social comparison. Physical attributes such as weight, height, and BMI are scrutinized under social issues, including low self-esteem, depression, and EDs. They go on to say social media platforms inherently cultivate an ecosystem ripe for social comparison, characterized by a relentless stream of polished, edited, and often unrealistic portrayals of life and physical appearance. This digital environment sets the stage for pervasive upward social comparisons where users continuously measure their everyday life against the idealized highlights of others. Such interactions intertwine self-evaluation with digital perceptions of beauty and success, profoundly impacting psychological well-being. So this highlights how seeing certain images online, especially as a passive user, can be detrimental to one's self-esteem, how they see themselves. But we do have to remember, often these photos are edited, they are photoshopped. What we are seeing isn't always real life. And there's also certain ways that people might pose to change the way that their body looks. One notable example of an influencer who takes this thing of people posing in different ways is Brie Lenenhan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but she's Australian and she often shows different body poses and how certain influencers might look a certain way because of the way they've posed their body. And I personally like how there's starting to be more and more body positivity online. And I do hope that continues. I hope that beauty standards aren't always the norm, and I just hope that we can accept everyone for what they look like. And I do hate this, but I feel like sometimes we have to change what we're looking at in our feed so that our algorithm changes so that we see what we do want to see. Okay, this is the last theme, and this theme is the impact on relationships. And this can be good and bad, but I think for this one, we're just going to focus on the negatives. Influencer culture has created a unique environment where carefully curated online personas often overshadow genuine human connection. For example, the constant need to capture and share moments online can lead to partners or friends or anyone who's with you at the time feeling neglected or like secondary players in someone else's brand. It's not uncommon for influencers to prioritize their audience over their personal relationships, which can cause resentment and misunderstandings. Think about family vlog channels, which are pretty gross when you think about it in general, but there are specific family vlog channels who exploit their children for monetary gain. And I'm going to talk about the influencer Ruby Frank, who I think she's in prison now, or she's been, what's the word? I don't know the word, but she basically exploited and abused her own children. Like, what the F? She malnourished them. She took their bedrooms away from them. I just don't understand how you can do that to your own children. Wouldn't you want the best for them? And I did see that you can buy their house, and it has like, I'll see if I can find it. I saw it. I don't know if it was a video or if it was on Reddit or something, but it was like the house where Ruby Frank and her children, husband, where they all lived. And there was like a bunker that only opened from the outside, so you could lock people in this bunker. Like, this whole thing was disgusting. So social media platforms have made it easier than ever to compare our lives to others, and influencer culture exacerbates this issue. Peers may feel inadequate or jealous when comparing their achievements, lifestyles, or appearances to those of influencers they know personally. This dynamic can create tension in friendships, as one party may feel left out or undervalued compared to the influencer's online audience. Additionally, influencers themselves may experience jealousy when comparing their growth or engagement metrics to their peers, which may strain professional and personal connections. So, to sum up, in this video we have talked about the pressure to perform, authenticity versus curated personalities, materialism and consumerism, ethical concerns, and the impact on relationships. That is basically the dark side of influencer culture, which is terrifying to think about, considering some of the examples I have talked about today. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, it would be amazing if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I am, again, a small channel, so would love to build more community, and let me know your thoughts about the dark side of influencer culture in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ash. This has been the dark side of influencer culture, and I'll see you next time. Bye.